Picture a little black box wired behind your dashboard that makes your truck impossible to start unless you tap a secret code, and a thief could search for an hour and never find it. That one is in here. So is a pocket scanner that pulls the police and emergency radio around you straight out of the air, live. Every gadget on this list is legal to own and sitting on Amazon right now, even the ones that really do not look it. Real prices, every link below. Let's roll. Somewhere up ahead, a state trooper is sitting in the median with a radar gun, and this is the box that tells you about him while he is still a mile and a half out. The Uniden R7 is a long-range radar and laser detector with 2 antennas, one facing forward, one back, so it not only catches the signal, it points an arrow at which direction the threat is coming from. Built-in GPS quietly learns the speed traps and red light cameras you pass every day and stops crying wolf at the same grocery store door sensor every morning. It is completely legal to run in a private vehicle in 49 states, and yet mounting one still feels a little like you are getting away with something. At $550, it is the priciest kind of peace of mind. But with over 4,000 reviews sitting at 4.5 stars, the people who drive for a living clearly think the ticket it saves pays for it. It is the single most useful piece of glass on any dash. Dead battery, empty parking lot, nobody around to give you a jump. That used to be the start of a very long night. This palm-sized brick ends it in about 10 seconds. This Boost GB40 pushes 1,000 amps into a dead truck, gas up to 6 liters or diesel up to 3, and it is idiot-proof on purpose. Clamp it on backwards and it simply refuses to spark instead of frying anything. It runs $100, holds its charge in the glove box for up to a year, doubles as a phone power bank, and has a built-in flashlight for the roadside fumbling. With more than 128,000 reviews, it is one of the most trusted things you can throw behind the seat. Buy it now, forget about it, and thank yourself on the worst morning of your winter. Here's the part most truck owners never think about. The single most stolen thing off a pickup is the tailgate itself, and on a lot of trucks, it lifts off in under 10 seconds with no tools at all. This pop and lock power lock hides inside the tailgate and locks it automatically the second you hit the key fob, tying it into the same central locking as your doors. It is made in the USA, it is tamper resistant, and from the outside there is nothing to see, which is exactly why a thief walks past it. Figure around $117, and note it is sold by truck model. So grab the one that matches yours. It quietly protects both the gate and everything you have thrown in the bed behind it. Your speed, glowing on the windshield right in your line of sight, like something out of a fighter jet, and it costs less than a tank of diesel. This little head-up display plugs into the OBD2 port every truck built since 2008 already has, then throws your speed, RPM, water temperature, and voltage up onto the glass so your eyes never drop to the dash. With the numbers sitting up in your sightline, most drivers find their eyes stop wandering down to the gauges at all. It even nags you with an overspeed alarm when you drift over the limit without noticing. At $29, it is close to an impulse buy, and it makes a 15-year-old work truck feel a decade newer the moment you switch it on. Now bolt a slab of 1/4-inch steel into your center console, and suddenly the most ordinary spot in the cab becomes the safest. Console Vault builds these to drop into the factory console of a specific truck, Ram, F-150, Silverado, Tacoma, so it looks like it rolled off the assembly line, no cutting, and no drilling. Inside that armored drawer, behind a pick-resistant lock, go the things you cannot leave loose in a vehicle. Documents, a firearm, cash, a passport. Prices start around $319, depending on your truck and the lock you choose. And it is the original that every cheaper copy is chasing. A smash and grab thief has maybe 90 seconds before he moves on, and this turns your console into 90 seconds he does not have. Your rear view mirror is watching the road behind you, recording every second of it in 4K, and it plays it all back in court if you ever need it to. The Wolfbox G840S looks like a slightly nicer mirror, but it is a front and rear dash cam with a 12-inch touchscreen, night vision, and a camera on the tailgate that finally kills the blind spot behind a tall bed. Park it and it keeps watching. The moment someone bumps or keys the truck, it wakes up and records the hit. It comes in at $140 with the memory card in the box, and more than 14,000 reviews put it above 4 stars. In a he said, she said fender bender, this is the witness that never blinks and never changes its story. Professional car thieves have a nickname for this thing, and it boils down to not worth the trouble. The disc lock is a full steel dome that swallows your entire steering wheel, so there is no rim left to grab, no spoke to cut, and even if a thief saws the wheel in half, the lock just spins uselessly in his hands. It is loud, it is obvious, and being obvious is the whole point. The goal is for him to spot it through the glass and pick the easier truck 2 spaces over. The medium runs $270, which is real money for a lump of steel, but it carries Britain's Thatcham security approval, the standard insurers there actually trust. Slower than a fob, yes. Also the reason your truck is still in the driveway. Crawling headfirst into the bed on your knees to drag a heavy toolbox out of the front corner, every truck owner knows that particular misery. Bedslide ends it by turning your entire bed into a giant drawer that rolls out to you on heavy-duty rails, fully loaded, and locks in place so it never surprises you on a hill. The one everyone starts with, the Bedslide 1000, handles 1,000 pounds and goes for about $1,722, which is not cheap, but neither is a wrenched back, and this is contractor-grade gear built to outlast the truck. Everything you own slides out into daylight where you can actually see it, instead of vanishing into the dark cave up by the cab. So the thief gets past the door, drops into your seat, turns the key, and absolutely nothing happens. That is this gadget doing its job. It is a remote battery kill switch that cuts power to the truck from a little key fob remote, so with one button, the whole vehicle is dead weight, and a car with no electrical system is a car nobody is driving away. It also stops the slow phantom drain that kills a battery over a long winter parking spell. The kit is about $30, hides down on the battery terminal out of sight, and doubles as the cheapest anti-theft insurance in this whole video. Simple, mechanical, and utterly baffling to someone who does not know it is there. Flip one switch on a black country road and 13,000 lumens turn midnight into an overcast afternoon 100 yards ahead. This Nightlight 30-inch bar throws a wall of white light that makes stock headlights look like candles, with a spot and flood mix that lights up both the ditch and the distance. It is the kind of thing that looks flat-out menacing bolted across a grill, which is why you only ever legally run it off-road or off-pavement, not blinding oncoming traffic. At $114 with the wiring kit thrown in, it is a genuinely cheap way to stop guessing what that shape in the dark is. Deer, washouts, a gate you would have driven straight past, suddenly you see all of it coming. Leave this running in a parked truck and it sits there like a trap, waiting. This is A. 129 Plus is a sharp 2K front and rear dash cam, and its best trick is buffered parking mode. Hardwire it in and it keeps a silent eye on the truck long after you have walked away, catching the hit and run in the lot or the guy who decides your door is his canvas. On the road, it is quietly logging every mile in crisp detail, with GPS stamping your speed and location onto the footage. It is $170, it has the Wi-Fi and the app so you pull clips straight to your phone, and over 3,000 reviews back it up. The insurance company argues a lot less when there is a time-stamped video of exactly what happened. A soft tire on a back road with no gas station for 40 miles is the kind of small problem that turns into a big one fast. Clip this straight to your battery and it airs a full truck tire back up, no wall outlet and no waiting. This 88P is a 12-volt compressor rated to 120 PSI and big enough for tires up to 33 inches, so it handles a real off-road setup, not just a commuter sedan. It is $90, packs into its own little canvas bag behind the seat, and with more than 8,000 reviews at nearly 5 stars, it has clearly aired up a lot of tires. Overlanders air down for the trail and back up for the highway, and this is the pump that lets you do both anywhere. Ever want to hide a spare key somewhere a thief would never in 100 years think to check? Slide it into your trailer hitch. The Hitch Safe is a solid steel drawer that lives inside the 2-inch receiver every truck already has, opens with a 4-digit combination, and holds a key, some cash, a card. From outside, it looks like a plain rubber hitch cover, the last place anyone patting down a truck for valuables would ever look. It runs about $75, needs no batteries and no app, and lets you leave the house to run, hike, or surf without a key jammed in your pocket. With nearly 5,000 reviews, a lot of people have quietly turned the ugliest part of their truck into its best hiding spot. This is the little black box from the very start of the video, and it is the one that genuinely unsettles thieves. IGLA is a tiny immobilizer that wires invisibly into your truck's computer network, and it will not let the engine start until you punch a secret PIN using buttons you already have, steering wheel, window switches, whatever you set. There is no keypad to spot, no box to yank out, nothing to jam or clone. The truck simply refuses to move for anyone but you. It defeats the exact tricks stealing trucks today: relay attacks, key cloning, the OBD port hack, cold. It runs about $1,300 installed. It is sold and fitted through certified installers rather than off a shelf. And undercover, undetectable, and unbeatable is precisely the combination that makes it feel like something the rest of us should not be allowed to own. You can, though. That check engine light used to mean handing a shop $100 just to be told what is wrong. This little dongle reads it for you in your own driveway. Blue Driver plugs into the OBD2 port, talks to your phone over Bluetooth, and does not just throw a cryptic code at you. It pulls repair reports built from millions of real fixes and tells you what the code most likely means and what it takes to clear it. No subscription, ever. It is $140. It reads the deeper ABS and airbag systems the $20 readers cannot touch. And with more than 60,000 reviews, it is the one mechanics quietly recommend. Walk into the shop already knowing what is wrong, and the whole conversation changes in your favor. And here is the other one I promised, a scanner that reaches up and pulls the radio traffic around you right out of the air. The Uniden Bearcat BC125AT is a handheld that listens to police, fire, EMS, weather, aircraft, and railroad channels, the same public broadcasts first responders use every day. Its close call feature even sniffs out a strong signal transmitting nearby and locks onto it automatically. It is completely legal to own and to listen to across the country, and there is something undeniably cloak and dagger about hearing a storm cell or a road closure called out live before it ever hits your phone. At $167, with almost 10,000 reviews, it is the tool storm chasers, race fans, and truckers have leaned on for years. Just know your own state's rules on using one in a moving vehicle before you clip it to the dash. What if your regular pickup could unload a full bed of gravel in about 30 seconds without you lifting a shovel? This turns it into a poor man's dump truck. The load handler is a heavy poly sheet on a roller that bolts across the bed, and you throw your load, mulch, rock, firewood, trash straight on top of it. Drop the tailgate, crank the handle, and the sheet rolls forward and drags the whole mess out onto the ground while you stand there and watch. It is around $269, it holds up to 3,000 pounds, and it installs with no welding or drilling. For anyone who hauls loose material and is tired of ending every job hunched over a shovel, it pays for itself in saved backs alone. Buried to the axle in mud or sand, all four tires spinning and flinging brown rooster tails, and not another soul in sight, this is how you drive yourself out. You wedge these ramps under the spinning tires, the aggressive teeth bite in, and the truck climbs up and out onto solid footing under its own power. The X-Pull boards are rated to hold 10 tons. They shrug off desert heat and deep winter cold alike, and they bolt to a rack or slide behind the seat. Right now, they are $83, marked down from over $108. So this is the rare recovery tool that is genuinely on sale. Cheaper than one tow truck call, and they turn a stranded afternoon into a 2-minute problem you fix yourself. There is a surprising amount of dead space under your truck's back seat, and Tuffy turns it into a welded steel vault. This under-seat lockbox is built from 16-gauge steel with a 10-tumbler pick-resistant lock, and it drops into the factory space behind or beneath the rear seat without cutting into anything. Flip the seat down and you would never know it was there. It swallows tools, documents, a handgun, whatever you need locked away and out of sight while the truck sits in a lot all day. Depending on your model, it runs around $569, and it is the kind of quiet, permanent security a smash-and-grab thief has no answer for. Out of sight is the first defense, welded steel is the second. Nothing on this list makes a stranger jump quite like a real locomotive horn going off in a parking lot. The Horn Blaster's outlawed 228H is an all-in-one kit. The trumpets, a 2-gallon air tank, the compressor, the wiring, that bolts onto your truck and delivers a genuine 150 decibel train blast, not the polite beep the factory gave you. Is it overkill? Completely. Is that the entire appeal? Also yes. People run them at truck shows, on the farm, and for that one distracted driver drifting into your lane who needs a wake-up he will feel in his chest. It is $550, it installs in an afternoon, and the sound alone tells everyone within 3 blocks exactly what kind of truck just rolled up. Lean on it once, and you will grin every single time after. A thief with a battery saw can be under your truck and gone with your catalytic converter in about a minute, and the first you hear of it is the roar when you start the engine next morning. This is the cage built to make that minute not worth it. The pop-and-lock cat wrap wraps your converter in aircraft-grade steel cable and a shield, turning a quick 90-second cut into a long, loud fight most thieves abandon halfway through. It is universal, it bolts on without welding, and at $152, it is a fraction of the $2,000 repair bill a stolen converter leaves behind. Trucks and SUVs sit high off the ground, which is exactly why they are the favorite target, and exactly why this belongs under yours. A stiff steel tow chain can snap and turn into a wrecking ball. This does the opposite, and that difference is the whole point. The Gear America Kinetic Rope stretches like a giant rubber band as the recovery truck pulls, storing up energy and then snapping back to yank a stuck vehicle free with a gentle, rolling surge instead of a brutal jerk. It is rated to 28,000 pounds, it is made in the USA, and it recovers loads a rigid strap simply cannot budge. Figure around $100 for the 30-foot rope, and it earns its place behind the seat the first time a buddy sinks his truck to the frame. Softer on both trucks, safer on everyone standing nearby, and far more forgiving than a chain will ever be. "60 seconds after you park, a hard-shell pod on your roof pops open into a real bed with a mattress, up off the wet ground and away from whatever crawls across it. Roofnest builds proper hard-shell rooftop tents, and the condor opens in about a minute with an aluminum shell that doubles as its own weatherproof case going down the highway. There is no fighting cold, wet fabric in the dark, and no tent poles lost in the grass. You climb the ladder and you are in bed. It is a serious piece of kit at around $3,495, firmly in the splurge tier, but for people who actually live out of their truck on weekends, it turns any pull-off into a bedroom. Park anywhere with a view, and the view is your campsite. Stuck with a truck that only does CarPlay through a plugged-in cable, forever hunting for the right cord? This quietly cuts it loose. The Magic Box plugs into your existing wired CarPlay port once and turns it wireless. Your phone connects on its own the moment you climb in, no cable, no fuss. On top of that, it runs its own apps, so the screen you already have can pull up video and streaming while you are parked. It is around $130, it is plug and play with no wiring to run, and it drags an older truck's infotainment a few years forward for the price of a decent dinner. A small thing, but it is the annoyance you will be glad is gone every single drive. Heat the whole cab on a freezing morning without idling the engine, burning through diesel, or coughing exhaust into the air. That combination sounds almost too good, and it is the reason these blew up with truckers. A 5 kilowatt diesel air heater sips a tiny bit of fuel from its own little tank and pushes out dry, genuinely furnace-like heat, warming a cab or a camper in about 10 minutes. Long-haul drivers use them to sleep warm through mandatory rest breaks without an anti-idling ticket. This all-in-one unit lands near $140, includes the tank, the remote, and the display, and mounts just about anywhere. For anyone who works or camps where it actually gets cold, it changes the whole night. Watch your truck crawl across a live map on your phone from the far side of the country, and no monthly bill hanging over you to do it. Vinx plugs into the OBD2 port, updates its location over 4G, and quietly logs every trip, so a fleet owner sees where the work van really goes, and a parent sees how a teen driver really drives. If the truck ever moves when it should not, your phone lights up. It is around $90 for the device, with a year of service bundled in, and it doubles as a health monitor for the engine, flagging fault codes before they strand you. It is the same tracking power a recovery company would charge you a fee for every month, bought once and hidden under the dash. A nice set of truck wheels is worth more than most people's first car, and they roll away on the same 5 lug nuts anyone owns a socket for. Magard closes that door. You swap one ordinary lug on each wheel for one of these hardened locks, and now that wheel only comes off with the single uniquely keyed pattern that ships in the box. A plain socket just spins. They are made in the USA, they meet the standards car makers use on the factory line, and at $30 for a set of 4, they are the best theft prevention per dollar on this entire list. More than 3,000 reviews, and it is a 15-minute job in the driveway. Cheap, boring, and the reason your rims are still on the truck. Most recovery boards are long, rigid slabs you have to strap to a roof rack because they will not fit anywhere else. These fold up. Goat treads hinge down to a fraction of their size and tuck behind the seat, then open into a rugged ramp that gets a stuck tire out of mud, snow, or a slick loading dock. They are made in the USA, they hold serious weight, and the folding trick is what finally makes a recovery board something you actually keep in the truck instead of leaving in the garage. The midsize runs about $190, and unlike the big boards, they store in a space you did not know you had. The best recovery gear is the gear that is actually with you when you get stuck. Every phone, every card, every French fry your truck has ever eaten disappeared into the same black hole between the seat and the console. This finally caps it off. The seat gap organizer wedges into that crevice on both sides, closing the gap for good and giving you a lined tray with cup holders for your phone, sunglasses, cards, and change right where your hand already falls. No more fishing under the seat at a red light for a phone that slid just out of reach. It is a 2-pack for about $25, it installs in 10 seconds with nothing to screw in, and it is the cheapest thing here that you will notice, helping you literally every drive. Small money, constant payoff. This is what onboard air looks like when you stop compromising. This is a twin-motor compressor that mounts permanently in the truck and runs air lockers, airs up all 4 tires fast, drives air tools, even feeds a train horn, the beating heart of a serious build. Where a little clip-on pump is for one flat, this is a whole air system wired into the truck for good, and it moves enough air that you are not standing around waiting on it. It is $650. It is overkill for a grocery run and exactly right for an overland rig. And the 4.5-star reviews come from people who bury their trucks in the backcountry for fun. Once it is in, you have air anywhere, forever, at the push of a button. A slow leak you cannot see is how a highway blowout is born, and a blowout on a loaded truck is genuinely dangerous. This watches all 4 tires, so you never get surprised. The Time8 TM8 reads pressure and temperature on every wheel in real time on a little solar charged screen on the dash, and the instant one tire starts dropping or heating up, it sets off an alarm while you can still pull over calmly. It is $34, marked down from $45, it charges off the sun so there is nothing to plug in, and the sensors screw straight onto your valve stems in minutes. Catching a slow leak at the gas station beats discovering it at 70 on the interstate every single time. Quiet insurance that pays off the one day it matters. Your truck bed is already a flat, dry platform. Lifted off the cold ground, Napier just puts a tent on top of it. The Backroads turns the bed into a 2-person campsite in about 10 minutes with a color-coded pole setup, a full rainfly, and enough headroom to actually sit up. You sleep up off the wet, the rocks, and the crawling things, using space you were hauling around empty anyway. It runs about $180, it fits most truck beds with adjustable straps, and Napier even plants a tree for every tent sold. For a weekend at the lake or a tailgate that runs long, it beats a ground tent on every count that matters, and it packs down small enough to forget it is back there until you need it. A truck in deep water or on its side, a jammed seatbelt, rising panic, that is the exact 90 seconds this tiny tool is built for. Rescue Me clips to your keychain and does 2 life or death jobs. A hidden blade slices through a stuck seatbelt, and a spring-loaded steel spike shatters a side window with one press so you can get out. It is the same tool firefighters and EMTs carry, shrunk down to something the size of a key. It is about $19 for a 2-pack, so one lives in each vehicle, and with over 2,000 reviews, it is one of those cheap purchases you desperately hope you never actually use. Keep it where you can reach it strapped in. A glove box it cannot reach is a glove box that cannot help. No electronics to hack, no signal to jam, no app to fool. This anti-theft device is almost aggressively simple, and that is why it has worked for decades. The Ravelco is a mechanical plug. You pull a small pin plug out of a socket on the dash when you park, and with it gone, the engine has no path to start at all. No bypass, no hot wire, nothing. You drop the plug in your pocket and walk away, and the truck is a 2-ton paperweight to anyone else. It runs about $800, professionally installed through their own network, hidden behind an armored steel cable, and it comes up over and over among people whose vehicles are actual theft targets. In a world of gadgets, thieves have learned to beat. The oldest trick, remove the part they need, still wins. When you are stuck somewhere with no one to pull you and no boards under the tires will do it, a winch is how you become your own tow truck. The Smitty-built XRC Gen 2 pulls 9,500 pounds on a steel cable, enough to drag your loaded truck up out of a ditch, off a rock, or through a washout under its own power, or to yank a buddy's rig free when his day goes sideways. It is fully waterproof, it is backed by a lifetime mechanical warranty, and the 4.5-star reviews come from people who use it hard. Bolted to a front bumper, it runs about $339 and completely changes where you are willing to point the truck. This is where a Bravo Gadgets list like this one has to end. The gadget that means you never wait on a rescue again, because you are it. That is 50 truck gadgets that look a lot more illegal than they actually are, from the radar detector and police scanner to the hidden immobilizer and the train horn. Everyone is legal, and everyone is linked below with today's price. Tell me in the comments which one is going on your truck first, and I will see you in the next one.